Next, I'd like to introduce Turno. He's one of the most indelible characters in drum and bass, producing music that continuously hits the top 10 charts.
Yeah, you just need to try and make sure you finish tracks, because you can have like 20 ideas that are like 1 minute long, which, yeah, they might be cool, but you can't send them to anyone.
So we're talking about your brother. We spoke about him earlier on, how you guys grew up together.
Unfortunately, he couldn't stand life anymore and he took his own life. I'll never forget, but just to try and shed some positivity on it, like we have started a charity called What's On Your Mind.
I think when it does come from a community that you kind of go, hey, I relate to that, you're more likely to talk.
Give more love to yourself and appreciate what you've accomplished. Like, don't like be so hard on yourself. You kind of get yourself in a bit of a hole, like comparing yourself to other businesses, other people. When you're in that mindset, it is quite hard to get out of it. And then it's just like so quickly, you'll forget all of your achievements.
I'd like to introduce Turno, starting his DJ career at the tender age of 14. He's one of the most indelible characters in drum and bass and the urban music scene, with international sellout tours, producing music that continuously hits the top 10 charts, and remixes with Armani White. And if you haven't heard of Billie Eilish remix, it's off the scale good. Welcome, DJ Turno.
Thank you very much. That was an amazing intro, man. You can
Thank you.
You can do that again if you want. But yeah, that was really good.
That was like my kind of boxing kind of, welcome,
sick.
Turno.
I feel ready, man. I feel ready.
So, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I'm super excited to have you on. I've been following your journey for a few years now. Love your music, but also love a lot of the messaging that's behind your music.
Appreciate it.
I like to start a little bit of trying to get to know you, right? So Franco, tell me, what was young Franco like little Franco, when you were kind of like your formative age?
I was a creative. I was always a creative. I actually used to play the cello back in the day, like which is mad to think now. I wouldn't have a clue what to do it now. But yeah,
cellos are big.
I know.
Did you have to carry that in?
To be fair, I used to look like it, to be honest with you, so it kind of went with my with what I looked like. But yeah, I used to play cello. I used to play the keys. Like my dad used to be in a band like called Rio, I think, which was just a cover band, but he was really good at the keys. Like so, I think that musical kind of creativeness was always there. Like yeah, like growing up, like me and my brother, like he was the popular one. I was the I don't want to say the gimpy one, but I was the uncool dude. I've definitely blossomed now, but like, as a kid, I was.
You were with your cello, walking.
Yeah, exactly. I was with the cello. He was talking to all the girls, and I'm like, yeah, I had the part in, and I didn't look good. So yeah, kind of like yeah, growing up was good. Like family life was well, we're Italian, so yeah, it's very strong. Like every Sunday, round my nonna's house to eat. Like probably similar with your culture as well. Like and family was really important. Like yeah, like in regards to like personal family life, I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't know, like, I don't necessarily need to. But mum and dad's connection was never really that great. Like I never really, they kind of stayed together for us. So that had a massive impact in, I think, more my brother than me, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, so they kind of stayed together for us. When it got to a stage where mum was like, look, I've had enough, I need to make this decision for me. We kind of, we went with our mum, and we kind of tried to stay with my dad a little bit. Like we went there a couple, I don't know, every other week, for instance, to spend the weekend. But yeah, I think that had an effect, especially on my brother more than me. But we were I don't know, tight. Like we were with each other all the time. We used to like have the same friend groups. We used to go out all the time. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's mad. Like even thinking about now, we did used to, I'd speak to him daily, even going up to the last couple of years, like before he passed, like yeah, man, we'd speak every other day. He'd be that guy I'd ring if I had problems with my missus or whatever, or issues, just so I wanted to chat to someone. Same with him. So yeah, man, that foundation, going back to like the original question, like I mean, growing up, like I can remember, like school for me wasn't great because of the reason why I said I wasn't really very cool. So I felt like I didn't really blossom until I left school and went to college and actually started to pursue this kind of music kind of career, which I suppose like, yeah, the creativeness for me, I was never really an academic, like, but I just liked like, yeah, just something about creative minds, or just doing something that getting your emotions down onto a page or
Mm.
something. I don't know. For me, it just was
It
always the
felt like a
better.
kind of outlet for you where you
Yeah,
could
it
kind of
felt
express yourself
felt
through that
comfortable, and
music.
the same with Fabio as well. Like he was he was a barber eventually, so and he was proper slick with it, and just everything about his appearance and like even the shop that he's got is all customized by him. He's got like lowered ceilings with neons all around. Like it all looks proper, like aesthetically amazing.
So
Like
you both had that kind of
yeah,
creative
yeah,
flair.
I like to think so. Maybe I actually influenced it off him, to be fair, because I definitely wasn't like that when I was a kid. So maybe I got it off him. But he was always like yeah, like I said, the cool kid. Like he always just do mad dances at like family parties, and he always used to have like the new cool hairstyle and whatever. And he used to be popular like at school. So yeah, I'd say in a weird way, I've never really deeped it, but probably I did look up to that, like in a way which I've not even really probably even accepted in myself until right in a second. Really, I'm not really even deep to that much, but.
It's actually funny. I always say, and I feel like this, like kind of I grew up, I've got two younger brothers, and it's almost like your siblings know a slice of your life that no one else
Yeah,
knows. It's like, it's almost like there is this little thing that you guys know, the silly
yeah,
little
yeah,
stuff that
yeah,
you've
man,
got
yeah,
into, right? And you kind of, when you look back, you're like, there is no one else
yeah,
that
no,
knows you
yeah.
on that
And
level,
if your
right?
friends knew that, then boy, you would not be cool anymore, man.
So tell me, what kind of like, where was the kind of moment where you were like, I want to get into DJing, or how did you get into DJing?
Oh, boy, that's really nice. Of course, I know. When we moved to Bromham, which is in Bedford, like, there was a guy that moved down from London, called Sean, like Sean Dodsworth, like Shawnee D, his name was.
I love the way you remember like the first and second name with everyone that you knew when you were younger.
I know it's mad. But yeah, he moved down from London, and he had a pair of decks, and we got friendly and stuff. And then on the school bus, you know, I mean, everyone had their Walkmans and that. And I remember just hearing like this like mad music coming from his headphones. It was kind of intriguing, and I was like, "What are you listening to, man?" And then we just got friends, and then yeah, we ended up going around his house, and yeah, he had a pair of turntables like 1210s and some jungle records and some D&B records, and yeah, it kind of started from there. Really, it was just part of the culture of that, I suppose, growing up, because everyone inside the community of Bromham anyway, like there'd be like 3 or 4 people that had decks to their houses. Like there'd be a couple of the youngers, like me, Shawnee D, and a couple other Ricky C, all these other mad
Yeah.
names of people. And then there'd be like the olders, which are a bit older, like Jonesy and a couple other guys, Far and Speedy, and all these man like who had like a bit of an upgraded setup, like who you had to kind of like try and impress to get into their house. Like
Yeah.
so, it was kind of it was weird. It was almost like a little scene already ingrained in it, and I think it just went a lot along. Just we all just kind of connected through music, man, like just through drum and bass, and I suppose that's really what set the light, the fire alight, I guess, for drum and bass and for DJing. Because then shortly after, I tried to get I got a pair of crappy decks from a mate down the road, like. And he gave me like a bunch of vinyls that he had, and there was just random like Addicted to Bass and like I had Friday by Dr. Dre and a couple of random tunes, man. And I was just trying to figure out how you beat match, how you do this. I'd spend hours. I think I even had it on my floor, so I was just kind of like just yeah, not even properly set up. But I'll just spend hours, and I was just fascinated by just like the fact that you can get 2 records and then make something new with them, and it doesn't
Mm.
necessarily matter what genre they are or what speed they are, because you can adjust it on here, and it might not sound good, but like you can, I don't know, I think again that creative kind of way of merging 2 things and creating something fresh, and that's kind of where it all really started, really. And then that's where the obsession for it all began. I remember dabbling in music tech at school. It was very basic there. I'm not gonna lie, but like I just made me think, man, because I was quite artistic, so I was quite good at art back in the day,
Mm.
and yeah, it was kind of. I remember when you have to choose your performing art at school. I think I couldn't. I think the art class was. I'd have been. It was must have been full, because remember I had to choose music
Because you got to
tech.
choose your kind of like what you're going to do for
Yeah,
GCSE. Yeah.
exactly. And I don't know if it was. I remember there was a reason why I couldn't do it. I think it was full, so I was not stuck with music tech. But it's weird. I got forced into music tech in a weird way, and then I kind of when I left when I finished school, because I didn't get very good grades, to be fair. Um, and I was like, "Do you know what? I just this is making me happy. Like, do you know what I mean, you got your parents looking at you thinking, "Is this really gonna work, man? Like, you just don't want to get into this or this business or stuff." And it's like I just thought, you know what? Luckily, they were very supportive of my decision, and
Did you kind of have that moment where you were like, I think I could do something, you know, because things when you're DJing, you're younger, you're probably thinking, oh, it's a bit of a hobby, right?
Yeah.
At what point did you kind of think, I want to turn this into something that is what
Do you know
I
what?
do?
From as far as I can remember, to be honest with you, like when it got to the point of going to college and stuff, like because I went to college and I went to uni, I all did it in the same Bedford University, but I did from then I was kind of like, look, I'm doing this for a reason. I'm not doing this just to do it. Like, you know what I mean? You see people drop out of the classes and after a couple of years or a year because they're like, oh, it's not really for me, or I don't know, something's happened. Like for me, I was like, that's why I did the university in Bedford and stayed at home. I didn't do the campus thing because I knew that I'd get sucked into like the
uni life,
the uni life, man. I wanted a degree and I wanted to actually learn from it. And to be honest, like, yeah, I just think it all just clicked from there. Like, I don't want to say it sounds arrogant, but like I just always saw the bigger picture in it. I thought I'm doing this for a reason. Like I'm not doing it just to like play at a pub in Bedford or to whatever. I'm actually want to make.
You were thinking kind of like, because you could be a DJ doing like, I don't know, the birthday circuit and
not for me, man.
you know, turning up at pubs and whatnot, but you already were like,
and there's no disrespect to them
yeah,
kind of guy. Everyone's
you
got
were
their own
like,
dreams, yeah. No,
God is a DJ. I'm going to be at the top. I'm going to be on Ibiza. I'm going to be here.
And also, I knew to get there, I had to produce. I knew that it was coming out of that era where there is still DJs. There's not many DJs out there now that are just DJs, unless they're like, I don't know, like an EZ or someone that's been doing it for years. But breaking through now, just being a DJ is very hard because nowadays it's the skills are still there, don't get it twisted, but because it's now all like digital, like realistically all you got to do is match up two numbers, and that's it sounds mad, but that's literally what it is. So like it's not as hard as it was back in the day when you got 12 tens and you got to move the thing slightly, and when you get the mix in you can kind of go, oh, like it was a lot more skilled there. So yeah, the production thing was kind of, I knew from early, I was like, this is what is going to make me in it. And also it's the even better way of me going, right, this is Turno, this is me on a plate, like this is actually, I've created this in my bedroom or whatever it is, and people are, and I can play it out for you and no one's got it, like, so it makes my set more exclusive, like just makes my sound more exclusive. So they kind of went hand in hand, and I think the more my tracks started to get on the circuit, that's when obviously the booking started coming in, because people were playing my tunes, and then there we go, who's this Turno guy? Oh, let's book him for our party. And don't get twisted, I was probably playing in a cloakroom or something to start with. But yeah, like still, like it was the beginning of that kind of like, for me, the marriage of how DJing and production went hand in hand. And I kind of like just got again more obsessed with it, because I knew the more I focused on the production, the better my music would be, which means the higher I could get my DJing. So they kind of went hand in hand, really.
And how much of a kind of like, because I kind of relate, you know, my hustle of starting the business, this is your kind of thing, is you know, I want to be a DJ, but I want to be at this level. How much did you have to kind of dig deep, hustle hard, really get your name out there?
Yeah, man, a lot. Like, I mean, I remember I made a decision to quit my job, like, and to be honest, like, my dad has quite a successful business, like, and I was working part time for him, because I actually rented a room off him upstairs which is still in my studio's in now. So it kind of, I used to work, like, I think I used to do I used to finish Tuesday or Thursday at like 1, so I could go straight up to the studio. And bless him, I mean, he supported me with that. He helped me give me cheap rates for the room and stuff. So I was like, Dad. But yeah, like I think it all just started from well, yeah. When I decided to quit my job, because like I said, my dad, I had it all there. Like if I really wanted to be that guy and just take over my dad's legacy, it could have been there. Like, and I think that's what he kind of wanted me to do. But with all due respect to my father, I was just like, look, I don't want to be known as Guy's son who's just taken over. It wasn't me anyway. You know what I mean, like working in an office, like, and stuff. So yeah, I just said, look, man, I think I had £1,000 in my bank, I saved, and I was like, look, I'm gonna take the plunge and quit my job. And because I just got to the point where I was like, look, I'm thinking, if I can focus on this fully, rather than like, because you can't work at full capacity if you're working all day and then you want to go home and be creative. Like, you're not going to be in the best creative place. Like,
I get that.
You need that freedom to be able to do it. I mean, creativity doesn't. An inspiration, you have to. It doesn't come like that. You can't just force it. It just it comes sometimes. You can inspire it, but you can't force creativity.
I agree with that. I mean, I'm not telling people to leave their jobs, but I did leave my job. So I was in a corporate job. I was in a different scenario in terms of, I did have a lot of responsibilities. So my kids were young, it was me. And I was like, but I had this thing that it's either like I go all in now and it doesn't work, and then I draw a line under it and go back to my job, or something happens from it. It was always kind of like, if I try and straddle both, I'm not going to do any of those any good. That was kind of my thought process behind it.
It's important, man. I think like I say, you get one life, like, and I'd rather try and fail than than not, and then wonder, oh, I wish I did that, or wonder what would have been different. Like, that's why I think it's important. If you have that fire in your belly for something, like, just go for it. And like I say, what's the worst that can happen? But you'd rather have tried and then be like, oh, it didn't work out. But then for me, like, even that wouldn't, I even say it to myself now. That's one thing I remember saying to myself when I quit my job. I was like, if I go back to working again, I failed. Like, and that's something that I still agree with into myself now. That I'm gonna touch wood. Like, the chances of it happening now are pretty slim. But yeah, like, for me, that was.
Did you have that? Did you have a fear of failing, or did you just have a kind of, I'm just going to go all out, whatever happens? Like, how was...
there obviously must have been some fear, but I just remember just being so, like, in it, like, just like, this is not fake. I'm going to give it my, I'm going to give it my all. Like, I'm going to even ask my mate Harry, who was delivered. He used to be like, I used to go to studio like night and day. Like, you'd be there, like, I'd be getting back from work and you'd already been there all day. Then you go have some food, you go back. Like, I saw the passion and the love that you give into it, the amount of time and effort you give into it. And I think that's what it is. You have to just, like, the more time you put into things, the better you're at. The more confident you are at them, the better you are at them. Like, you're just more involved in it. Like, I find now, like, when I've got a month off now from DJ bookings. I've just got back from Australia, and like last week I got chucked straight back in, like, which was quite overwhelming to start with, like, because Australia was quite busy, like, doing shows and stuff, and quite full on. But then you come back to the UK and you realise, like, there's so many things, people relying on you for things, whether it's submitting music, whether it's like, I've got like 3 or 4 businesses, so people from other businesses, from their businesses, coming to me and asking me about this. Have you done this? Can we have a meeting about this? So, like, so
many tabs open.
Yeah, and you can't. Yeah, exactly. And you're just like, oh my god, get me back to Australia, man. Like, but it actually helped me because it kind of kicked me back into action again. Like, it's something about being so busy, which I do love, like, and having, especially when it's loads of different kind of subjects. Like, it's hard, but it keeps exciting. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I think you thrive off it as well. Probably,
yeah. I think I do, man. So I think that definitely does help. But yeah, I mean, once you accept this life and you get into it, like, it's just a roller coaster. I think another reason why I love it is just like the opportunities, and like, you might have a certain path that you want to take, but it can change so much, man. Like, in a good way, like, as well. Like, it can be opportunity. The bigger you get, you can release a song, which then, I don't know, a certain artist hears, which then he connects with you and you make a tune with him, and then who knows? There's so many potential, like, directions it can go, and and I suppose it's the same in most businesses, but especially in a creative kind of field, like an arts kind of performing arts, or the entertainment industry, I should say. There's so many potential, like, varying directions that you can
go in.
Yeah, man.
And I think there is definitely, like, that thing of something having its evolution, right? So you're going in this direction of your North Star of being DJing, right? But how that starts really unfolding, like, if you go back, like, even 5 years, what you're doing now, you wouldn't have known that it's exactly going to be that. But you're just kind of going in this direction and things start happening, and it just starts kind of, it is an evolution, and it's evolution of you growing as a person.
I'm a big believer of, like, I've just started doing this thing called the 6-minute diary. Like,
I do the 6-minute diary.
I do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, 6 minutes, that sounds like me, because I was trying to do this real kind of like morning routine. Yeah.
Well, you've actually got the actual book.
I've got the book.
Oh, wicked.
And then I was realizing, right, because obviously when you're busy, sometimes you're like, I haven't done and I was like, listen, I'm complicating this too much. And I saw this 6-minute thing. It's like, that sounds like me. I just need to do 6 minutes.
It's really good, man.
What did you get from that?
Like, to be honest, just a lot of things, like a lot of clarity, gratitude. Like, my missus bought it for me for Christmas, actually, and I was kind of, it's weird, I bought her a similar thing, but it was not exactly the same, but similar vibes, where just a reflection. yeah 10 minutes. But I just found the fact, like you said, it's 6 minutes. It's not like, I mean, even the first chunk of the book about reading about how it works and stuff, like, I learned a lot about myself, and I suppose it just puts your receptors up and you just kind of go, ooh, okay. And just like I say, like, now I do make a conscious effort in the morning. It's like part of my daily routine, man.
Mm.
Like I'll get up, I'll do my Wim Hof breathing. I don't know if you know who he is,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
do that every morning, man, without a doubt. I and then yeah, then I'll kind of write my diary. I'll try not to go on my phone. I'll try not to open my socials like until I've gone to the gym. So about 10 a.m. And even that is like, but I just can't. Sometimes you can't get away from it, can you? Sometimes you get phone calls and stuff, and you have to answer them. But
And
yeah,
how kind of how has that been for you? What have you got from that? Like by putting this morning routine in?
just a lot more structure and just time for myself, I think, because like
Mm.
if you get up, like everyone's done it, you get up, you look at your phone, you're in this social media world, like whatever, and then that's it. Then sometimes your head, even it takes you about an hour to get out of bed because you're just in this sitting on your bed. You just
So
think just
true.
I need some time for myself in the
It's
morning
so
to set
true.
myself up to get the best out of the day. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And that's what
I also think like that point in the morning, like that time where it feels like everyone's just getting up, it's quiet, right?
yeah.
That quiet time for your mind.
Oh,
It's like a real magical moment, like even like for a creative moment. And sometimes I always say like before the world starts asking you everything that it needs to ask you in the day, like having that moment to ask yourself
yeah, man.
is so important. So you're starting to start with that before
Yeah.
emails coming in, phones going
Gets
off,
the
so and so,
half eight, nine
yeah.
o'clock, man. Everyone wants a piece of you, man. And like
Yeah.
then you're like, oh my god, like it's so yeah, it's mad. Obviously there's days where like I might fall into trap again, but I think the diary and just the routine of the
Yeah.
morning, like so you just go, come on, bro, get back into the thing. And like I say, the 6 minute diary definitely helps me like in the morning. It's just like, and it's cool because it's got questions it asks about yourself. Like
Mm.
the end of every week, it kind of gives you 5 questions, questions you wouldn't necessarily ask yourself. Like, but just I don't know, it's a nice insight into you, and it's a good momentum that you can have to look back on. There's like really good positive quotes in it. I just
Mm.
think it's just really positive,
Yeah.
man. Like,
I agree. And I also think that going on this journey of finding out a little bit more about yourself, like we go on trying to find out about everything else outside of
yeah,
us,
man, that's the
right?
thing.
And when you start going, shit, I need to find out about
Yeah,
myself.
yeah.
Like,
What is it that I
what is it
need?
like? Because you're just like running, you know? And
Yeah,
from the minute that you actually get into kind of that work kind of, and things start going, it's like everything you're doing is outside of yourself. And I think that those types of rituals of the morning ritual and anything else which makes you just stop for a
yeah,
second
man.
to start thinking about,
That's why that for me the breathing is so important. It's
mm,
when I first started doing it, it's weird. It almost makes you do 3 rounds of it if people are watching
yeah,
not know what it is. Like it's like this guy called Wim Hof, who's
yeah,
like
explain,
crazy
yeah,
crazy ice kind of man guy who
yeah,
like could just withhold anything like any cold temperatures or I just got really interested by it, and then
yeah,
during lockdown I kind of thought let me just do this. And first couple times I did it, like for me it was an easy way to get into like a into like a meditation state, like without like losing. I mean, you can do the breathe, like I don't know. There's apps
yeah,
and stuff, but for me, it worked because like it really did make my head go
yeah. It
like
shocks your
light. Yeah,
system,
yeah, it
right?
does. It's quite the first couple times
Yeah,
you do it, you kind of feel like, oh my god, like you forget that you're holding your breath. It's weird. It does take you to some places, like,
yeah,
but I think that's what it's meant to do. It kind of shocks you, and you kind of once you get used to it. But now I want to do more breaths. I'm like, I want that hit again. I'm like a fiend for that. But like it just I don't know. I find it just like gives you a second, like, and then you can just like set out your day. I normally like try and set some direction in my head of the day, like some intention.
mm,
So from what I'm gonna do, like I don't know, like visualizing completing this or whatever, just like little things like that. And I just find after it, just feel calm, man, after it, man. And then I feel like, right, okay, now I can write in my diary like with clarity, like rather than like getting up and it being ooh, like I just find it just centers me, like, and I think that's important. Then I'll go to the gym and then after that I'll crack on with my day. But it's just for me, routine is so important. When I went to Australia because we toured for 3 weeks, like that was the hardest thing for me is like the lack of routine because the intention's there and I did try as much as possible,
mm.
but the diary went out the window because I'd get up for early for flights. So I'd like, do you know what I mean? It was just a crazy 3 weeks of madness, and I tried to fill it out as much as possible, but that's when it slipped like properly. And then when I got back, I kind of right, like, come on, man, get
Let's
back.
get back in
Because you
on
realize when
track.
you lose something like that, you realize that you might think, why am I not feeling great
Yeah,
today? Why is my
so true.
why I'm just like pondering around not doing anything? Oh, it's because of that.
So true.
And like it's weird, like when it says like I think the first it says like what three things that you're gonna do today that are great or something like or things you're gonna achieve today, and you do actually have to think like things I'm grateful like, and whether you say oh your family or your girlfriend or whatever, or and then it's got a positive affirmation at the end before. And like sometimes you have to think about it and but like again, I don't know, it's these little things that just like if your mind wanders from the day, hopefully that you'll remember that and you'll go back to kind of, and it's just these small little things, like 6 minutes it takes you, not even that.
I totally agree. In fact, I actually read this really interesting book. The author has gone out of my head. It's called Setting the Table. It's this American kind of restaurateur. His name's gone out of my head. Anyway, I read the book, and one of the biggest things that I got from it was that his job, right, he's a really successful restaurateur, opened up loads of cool places, and obviously his team grew and all of that. But he said actually, and he gave the analogy of the salt shaker, right, in the middle of the table, and his job is to constantly be putting it in the middle. And he goes, if you just get okay with the fact of what your job is, to be constant, people are going to come, things are going to happen, things are going to take you off your day. And then you go, where's the salt shaker? Put it back in the middle. And I was like, that is so, like, that really hit me, because I sometimes can be quite hard on myself. I'm like,
I'm the same.
Everything's gone out the window because, I'm, managing a business, home life, kids, all of that stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, I've gone totally off tracks. 2 weeks, I haven't done X, Y, and Z. And now where I'm getting to is like, without kind of giving myself a hard time, almost like get back on the bike, go back and hit that ball. Don't think about the fact that you dropped it or the fact that the salt shaker, why is it over there, and obsess about why it's over there. Just put it back in the middle. Don't worry about it. That's
you know, it's what you're saying there about like you're being hard on yourself. That's something that I'm very bad at as well. And like this week's been one of them weeks for me where I have been hard on myself for like, I don't know, like, because I got a month off, like if I want to have a day where I'm chilling at home, like myself be like, bro, what you doing? Go to the studio, do something, which I kind of like, but at the same time, then it gets to a couple of days in, and you kind of like, like if I just want to chill, I should be okay to do that.
I know,
like, and it's like,
but it takes a lot. I don't know whether it's conditioning from when I was younger, but it's taken me a lot to get. I have to almost tell myself, no, be kind to yourself, because I know that, like, more than anyone else being hard on me, I am the hardest on myself.
And then you kind of get yourself in a bit of a hole, like comparing yourself to other businesses, other people. Like you just, I don't know. When you're in that mindset, it is quite hard to get out of it. And then you kind of, it's weird. A couple of days will pass, you'll get over that hump, whatever, and you kind of look back and go, why the was I thinking that for? Like, I've got this going for me, but it's so easy. It's mad. That's one thing that I wish I knew why it happens, but it's just like so quickly you'll forget all of your achievements, like that you've done. You forget all that, and you'll just go, I'm shit, or,
and it'll just,
I'm not good enough. And that's something I think everyone must go through it, but it's the only way I know how to get over it is by almost punishing myself with exercise, like boxing. Then I'm going to do this because I know that kind of like wakes me up. Like, I get that physical feeling. If I'm running it for 20 minutes, looking at myself in the mirror, like, I don't know, I kind of like just get some, I don't know, I'm always talking to myself, like I don't know, it's weird.
No, I totally get that. I think everyone else does. I'm not sure if they do. I've never asked everyone.
I think,
but
it must. Well,
you do have a narrative going on, right? And that's probably why I'm trying to now, like, I've gone through this, like, transformative bit where there was like, I don't think I could do something, then done some stuff, things happen, I was like, oh wow, okay, that happened, followed that path, and now I think I'm trying to go, all right, there is a part of me that's kind of learning that part of me kind of being hard on myself is probably some of the things from when I was younger, right? And I realized that even though when I did get good things happen, it was almost like it was already on to the next thing. It wasn't like I could celebrate that, right?
Really true, man.
And I was like, where is that coming from? And I actually done a course, right? It was like a 3-day course. It was really like immersive. It proper like stood up to me, right? Because I was like fighting in the course, going, no, I'm fine, being all that person in the course. And by like the 3rd day, I was like, I just realized that I've got this thing of, I'll show you. Like every time, like I want to do something, it's like, yeah, I'll show you. And what that broke down was that if I took that away, right, and I was like, I'm just doing it because let's play the game. Let's see how far I can take it. And it becomes like more of that game mentality rather than it means like, you know, live or die. It's like, so it's caught up in, bound up in so much. Like I had to break so much away to start thinking like that. And the thing is, even when you go through like this kind of growth stage with your mindset, it's a daily practice. So that's why those 6-minute things and doing that, because very quickly your circle can become like a square again or a triangle, and you're like, no,
wonder why. And then it's because
and it is a day. Yeah, it is a practice, right? I actually think it is something that, you know, when I kind of look back to when I was younger, like my grandmother would wake up every morning at, you know, 5:30 and do her prayers, and so does my mum, right? And I'd be like, like, no one's telling you to do this. And now I'm like, I get it, right? Yeah. Because that just gave them their framework. Like, definitely, whatever's going to happen in the day, I start my day like this.
And also as well, being up from that, like, I mean, that's early, don't get twisted. But if you can do that, then like I say, when it gets to 8 o'clock, you got 2-3 hours of silence. No one is about. Like you can do whatever you want without getting bothered. Like I think that's why a lot of artists as well like work in the night. Like I'm not really one of them kind of guys. Like I'll let it happen sometimes, but I know a lot of people in my industry, they do work through the night. I just don't like the fact of having to be tired in the day and sleep. I just don't like that. I like to have like, I start to be up in the day and but yeah, I think I get it. It's because when you're in that kind of, you haven't got no one bothering you. Like I think also as well, when you're in that weird kind of like, am I tired? Like you kind of like, I don't know, fuse more with the music sometimes as well, and you just let like your inhibitions just go. You're not as like, I don't know, strict on kind of it needs to be like this. You just let it flow, and I think
I suppose it's such a creative process with music, with anything that is of the arts. I think, you know, whereas when you're kind of doing something like, I don't know, I've got to get this done for my work and spreadsheets and whatever, you can just be like compartmentalized.
Yeah, that's the thing as well with when it become a job, like, which I still don't, it is a job. I can't say it's not because it's what pays the bills, but at the same time, like when you start,
it's your passion as well, right?
Yeah. And when them lines get blurred sometimes, and like it is healthy to kind of have deadlines and stuff, but at the same time, again, like you can't force creativity, like, but at the same time, kind of it's getting that balance, and that's something that I quickly learned. I do kind of tell a lot of people that kind of contact me for advice and stuff. I say, look, man, you just need to try and make sure you finish tracks as quick as possible. Like, don't, because you can have like 20 ideas that are like 1 minute long, which they might be cool, but you can't send them to anyone. Like labels aren't going to take them because they're not finished, and plus you aren't getting used to the process of like getting an idea down is one thing, but the actual completion of the track, like any job,
it's like anything that you want to go and do, whether it's in the arts or, you know, entrepreneurship, anything that you want to do, it then comes with the work that you got to do to make it happen, right? So there's the romantic dreamy state of it,
this sounds cool.
And then there's like
the realistic,
there's like getting down and doing it, and you know, it's like that kind of thing of, you know, your head in the clouds but your feet kind of in the dirt, because you got to do both.
I think with anything that you have, if you really want to, and that's why I suppose going back to kind of like where this fire came from, like you just really have got to be obsessed with it, especially at the early stages, because you need to live and breathe it. And like with jobs within the entertainment industry, especially what I do, like there isn't like a normal work schedule, like, do you know what I mean? So the weekends is where you're playing out, and obviously that's when you might be playing out Friday, Saturday, might be flying here, so the sleeping schedule's a bit mad, like, so and then in the week you're working, like you're doing meetings, you're creating music, you're doing writing camps, like you're actively making the music for the weekend. So it's so full on, and there's no like 9 to 5. Like you can cut it off if you want, but at the same time, like I might get a phone call from my manager at 10 o'clock in the night. I'm not really going to decline it. I'm probably going to answer it. What's you got for me, bro? So it is a full on job. Like, and I think having that balance, especially the age I'm at now, with my girlfriend and stuff, and just like that next stage where I don't know, want to move in and have a family and stuff, like, it is tough, like for them to understand, like how is it gonna what's the plan as such? Are you just gonna do this for like, I mean, but do you know what I mean, are you gonna keep doing this for the next 5-10 years? Like, and it's like it is I've got a plan, I've told her the plan, but obviously when it actually, now it's starting to happen, like she starts to get a bit more of a confidence in it. But again, I get it, it's a very unsociable job. Can I ask you a question? Was this something that, like, when you decided to kind of quit your job and take this forward? Like, was it quite impulsive, or was it like something you've been
It was,
thinking about for a while?
it was, I mean, I called it Soul Deli because I felt my soul needed nourishing, right? I was very corporate. I was reporting to the UK operating board of this, you know, multi-billion pound company. And my mind was always like, I want to get on the board. I want to get on the board. So I was ambitious in that sense. But one day, you know, when a lot of things happened where even my personal life started to kind of, everything was going bad. You know, when you're younger, you're quite dreamy about what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then for me, I got into the real world. And I thought, oh, this is how grown-ups live. And then I was like, grown-ups live shit. This is crap. I'm so down. I
want the fun back.
Yeah, I was like, this is like, you know, I've just put myself into this box where I thought I've got to live like this. And actually what I realized is that I'm not truly authentic in any part of my life. And you can do that for a certain amount of time, and at some point it catches up on you. And when it does, it really hits you. And that was kind of, I'd say, in my mid-30s where it really hit me. And I think it can go two ways. You either carry on going like spiraling down, or you go, something needs to change. And I think that was my kind of, my breakdown was probably my breakthrough after a while. But at the point, I think people thought, especially like my parents and stuff, I think they thought I was having a bit of an emotional breakdown because, you know, obviously my marriage had broken down, and then the next best thing is don't let anything else mess up. And then you go, I'm leaving my job, and they're going, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? But yeah, they are. And I think I kind of found my voice, right? And I'd lost it for a very long time. And yeah, so that was one of the, I started Soul Deli because I thought, I worked with a lot of companies that were in the workplace, and I was like, why am I standing in a queue with this tray, this canteen? We need to eat better. I need to have a coffee that I love and be talking about business, not in the boardroom, but downstairs. So I started Soul Deli, and then I convinced Raj and Manny to come along. I couldn't pay them. And I was like, listen, this is about to go. They kind of were helping me. Raj kind of was helping me. Manny was like, I'll see how it goes. Let's see, 6 months. And I convinced them, and they moved in, and it kind of escalated from there.
How old is it now then, sorry?
It's 6 years.
Oh, wow.
And it's gone through a lot of twists and turns with COVID happening and all that stuff.
I've been speaking to Raj, like, he said that, because you had a couple of, was it actual deli shops in London?
Yeah, we had 12 locations, like from Manchester down to Brighton.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then that actually, after COVID, because nobody came to work, I was like, oh my God, I think I just had a business idea that was probably the worst thing that you could have thought of when COVID happened. Nobody's coming to work. But anyway, enough about me.
Yes, I'm interviewing you now.
Speaking of which, actually, just talking about that really dark time for me, which was, it was really tough. I think also the responsibilities that I had, knowing that I've got 2 young children, 5 and 3, you know, there was a lot of weight that I felt, but I was able to feel like I could kind of speak to, let's say, my brothers, speak to my mum and dad. And I actually went to my parents, and this is exactly what I said. If this doesn't, let me go and do this. If this doesn't work out, I might have to move in with you. I had to look at the worst case scenario, right? And they gave me that kind of almost that kind of safety net. And I kind of just was thinking about, I want to talk to you about that point, which is a very significant point in your life. And probably the worst thing that you've been through.
Yeah, definitely that.
Talk me through kind of that.
Just
how maybe kind of like, so we're talking about your brother.
Yeah, of course.
And we spoke about him earlier on, how you guys grew up together, how tight you were.
Yeah, well, okay, so obviously, unfortunately, he couldn't stand life anymore, and he took his own life like a couple, I think it was September, not last year before. It's weird. It's the hardest thing is for me, because I won't have someone that'll be my best man, or someone that'll be, well, my brother. You know what I mean, I've lost that last connection, like you said, going back to when you're kids, having their moments where it is shit. I'll be honest with you. For me, the worst thing is seeing my parents upset about it all. Like that's the thing. Like my
Yeah.
mum still is today. She's got this constant fog where she doesn't know what it is. And I said, well, I think it's, but she's gone doctors and they just say, I think it's just
It's
grief. Like
grief,
yeah,
isn't it?
grief,
It's
man. And
deep
she hates it.
grief.
She can't really concentrate. She still gets on with her jobs, but she just says every day she has this fog. Like, and she still breaks down a lot. My dad is the same. Like, I think. We've all dealt with it in different ways. My dad seems to have just gone on loads of holidays and just fair enough. I mean, if that's what makes you feel cool. For me, it was more about I need to um one raise awareness, like for I don't know, I want everyone to know about my brother. That's what my main thing was. Like I need to do something, and the only way I needed to do that was through music. Like that's why I made it. Me and a bunch of his friends from Bedford made a track in his honor. Like and yeah, we I play it
It's a
every set.
beautiful track,
Thank
by the
you.
way.
And it's a bit
It
different for me as
actually,
well. It's a bit more
yeah,
like a hip hoppy kind of rap kind of thing, a
mm,
bit more of a like a deep like listening kind of one. Like
yeah, I listened to every word on that
oh
song for
bless you,
sure.
thank you. But yeah, so that really resonated and that for me, I don't think I really dealt with the grief in the right way. I think I just got stuck into work. Like that's what I do. Whenever I feel crap, I'll just work because it's the only thing that brings me up again. Like, do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like whether I'm writing a song, I can luckily in my job I can put my emotions into my work, into my craft, which obviously sometimes it's hard to get the motivation to go there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it still is tough. Like it's never going to go away. Like luckily well we've come together as a family and got kind of quite strong, and I just appreciate things a lot more now. Like I mean I see my mum a lot more, I speak to her a lot more, same with my dad. Like I think that's definitely brought us closer. Like we actually did like a documentary with the BBC like about his life and stuff, and just about I suppose mental health and awareness and stuff. We took a course to kind of like raise just to kind of understand it more, I guess, because
yeah. I mean, I was looking at some shocking stats
mm,
of suicide being one of the biggest killers in men and especially young men. It's one of the reasons that I actually wanted to speak to you. I mean, I've got a young son,
yeah,
and I do think, like, when I think about the kind of journey that's happened for me in the last 5, 10 years, there is more of a platform now for, women.
mm,
I know that it's very different to what it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And when I actually look at that platform for men, I wonder if that is there as much.
I don't think it is, to be fair,
Mm,
but I just think it's just it is to an extent if you look, if you really look. But like the thing is, like even I've been in moments of crisis, not to that extent where I'm going to take my own life, but I've had moments where I have spoken about it. Like I have like said, like in my own head, said, "Oh, I'm not worthy" or whatever, or and I've done stupid things like I don't know, like just to lash out or to whatever it is, get attention, or spoke to Samaritans. I've done that kind of stuff myself, like, and it does help, like having a listening ear, but the thing for me is like going from back to my brother's case. Like he was at a point where they said to him like you can either section yourself or we can just let you or we can arrest you. That's what they said, and I thought that is fucking so wrong, man. Like how can you expect
wow.
someone that feels so low to then even going to like I mean your section? That's embarrassing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't mean it in a bad way, but if you feel that low in yourself, then you got a section. And my brother was a very proud guy. Like he didn't. That's why I think it will build up in him. He had this pressure on himself, like to be this certain person he thought he had to be. And I think, yeah, I think he just didn't want to show his true self. Like even to his girlfriend, like he didn't hide things like between the relationship, but like he would not when wasn't financially stable, for example, like or didn't he wouldn't show that to anyone. You would see him and you think, oh, he's
He's
dripped out,
fine.
he's
Yeah.
fine, he's cool. You'd speak to him like as it got to closer to the end, there was moments obviously when you think oh he's not all right, not all right, like but I think he just went into kind of like kind of self sabotaging mode
Yeah.
really, like and he was drinking a lot and it just got tough, man. I never thought it actually happened, but at the same time, like I say, that night I'll never forget. But just to try and shed some kind of positivity on it, like we have started a charity called What's on Your Mind.
Tell me a little bit about the
Okay,
charity.
so it's basically aimed I wouldn't say just at men, but because I'm in the music industry, like there's a lot of like drugs, like um, anxieties, a lot of mental health problems in general, a lot of pressures, like, and again, it just comes down to like being open about speaking about things. So I'm using my platform along with another number of artists and brands that have got a lot of power in the industry. We actually done a seminar back in, I think it was last September, and in Manchester, and it was the turnout. We had like 400 people turn out. People really spoke there about some pretty dark things like that happened to them, and like it just got received so well. So since then, we've actually,
and the charity is called
What's on Your Mind.
What's on Your Mind, and so is your single.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it just made sense. We
Yeah.
just had it rebranded, like the socials are What's on Your Mind UK, so you can find them on Instagram, etc. But we're going to be planning to do a lot more kind of events. We've got a support network that we're kind of currently building to kind of like advise and direct people in the right way. So it obviously, with our platforms, it's more music related, but at the same time, it doesn't matter. Anyone that can connect with what we do, we're just using, because a lot of young kids like listen to our music, like that's our main audience really. So if we can direct these people and say like it's okay to feel this way, or if you do feel this way and you've got a problem, come and speak to this person, just give that support network out, because it's so important, man. And as a kid, you're so easily influenced in getting involved in drugs, and because you think you have to, and the peer pressure can get you sometimes. And I just think like, just in general, like it's just nice to have like just artists and people that they look up to.
Absolutely,
kind of,
I
like,
do think
showing
like
themselves vulnerable. Do you know what I mean?
and I think when you are that age, you know, you're not necessarily looking at an organization and going, oh, I'll go and speak to them, right? But I think when it does come from
The
a
roots.
community that you kind of go, hey, I relate to that, you're more likely to talk. And I think the whole thing of What's on Your Mind is that the point that if you've got something in your head and you haven't spoken about it, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and
That's the
bigger.
thing,
And that
it
is the thing, isn't it?
becomes
It's that bit
detrimental,
of
man. Like, it really
being able to speak about
the
it.
smallest thing can just like unravel into even the fact of hiding something that, like, you know, you might not think it's a big deal, but like it does have an effect on everyday relationships, on everyday just life. Like, even trying to block it out is not good, man. Like, I think that's why a lot of people turn to drink and drugs, because like that's the only way they can kind of just let their mind go. But then the thing is,
Numb it out.
the next day, then you feel worse, because like it's more intensified, because the problem doesn't go away, and you feel like shit because you're hanging, and then it just kind of goes down the route. So what you do, you go back to the drink, go back to drugs, because then you don't want to forget about it. You want to forget
It's
about
just
it
a
again.
mad spiral,
and it's that
isn't
mad
it?
spiral. So it's just offering that branch and that help of, and also as well connecting with just normal with the public and just normal people, because like, as much as we are artists and we're this, like, we're still humans. Like, we're not robots. Like, we still have very intense lives. We still go through a lot of problems, anxieties, and depressions and stuff. We're all normal. So just, I think, showing people that we don't live this glitz and glam lifestyle all the time. Like, there is realness to it. Like, is quite endearing. And I think that's what's happened. By what we've been doing, we've been getting a lot more people kind of like every time I go to a show now, I'll see someone that kind of like says, oh, I'm really sorry about your brother, I've lost my sister, my mum, and I really connect. And that, to me,
I think also on that level of so there's the bit about what's on your mind, and then there's also that, you know, going through something like grief, you know, and actually being able to kind of speak about that in a way, because that's sometimes internalized as well. You don't quite know how to speak about that.
The one thing I remember when my brother passed, like, I remember being, obviously I was really upset, I was distraught, but I didn't cry in general. I remember having two moments where I was like literally unstoppable crying. I couldn't get out of this. I was just a mess, man. Like, and I remember like two big moments where that happened, but I was questioning myself, like, why aren't I more upset? Like, why aren't I, like, I thought I'd be like broken, like literally, like, I couldn't even leave my house. Like, I don't know, I thought I would be a lot more, not worse, because it sounds weird saying that, but I just questioned why I'm not more upset. And I think, again, like you said about grief, there's different ways that it comes out. It doesn't just happen straight away.
Sometimes it doesn't actually even process, right? It's like that processing of what's happened. Like my mum's sister passed away. I mean, she died from scuba diving, but she was 29, and my mum was, I think, 32 at the time, and they were really close. And my mum just went quiet. And also lost so much weight. I mean, she was really, like, she looked really frail at one stage when I look back at pictures. But her processing was like, I can't get my head around it, and I can't talk about it. And that was her for a very long time. I mean, now, you know, all these years on, she'll speak about it. But even now,
Yeah, it's
she'll well
great.
up.
Oh,
She'll well
really?
up.
Yeah.
And it's like, it is that thing when I, you know, and say like, it's a part of you that you share with somebody. You know, I'm really close to my family, but my siblings I'm really close to. It's a part of a journey that you go through that only you know. And I think, yeah, speaking to other people that are exactly in that same spot, that sometimes does help, because it's almost like that relatability of going, it's a shock. It's like your mind and you're not ready to process it like your mum. She's not.
Nah, she's
That's your
not. Do you
child.
know
You're
what
not
as well?
expecting that to happen for your.
Because like I mean, all our houses are like shrines now for him.
Yeah.
So it's like it's almost like we're not. He's almost still here because like we're constantly like speak. Every time I see our mum and dad, we speak about it. Every time, like every go to mum's house, there's a picture of Fabio, like a massive picture of him like at the dinner table. So when I'm in there with my mum, he's there. So it's like, and even in my house, I've got like pictures and memories, and he's on my background of my phone. I've got a tattoo of him here. Like it's like he's everywhere, like constantly. And then the what's on your mind, that's because of him. Like the track, like every time I finish my set, I play the track and I get everyone to get their phone lights out, and it's like really emotional. And then I get my MC Dreps to kind of he says his name, and people like in Australia, people shouting his name like from, and like that. There are moments where it does make me well up a little bit, but it again, it makes me proud. Like that I don't know, I'm just like he's with me. Like, do you know what I mean? So everyone's dealing with different places, different ways. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's weird. It doesn't even feel like it's actually. I think for me, when it's really shit is Christmas, like Christmas and family, like his birthday, like because I know like we've still even got like when it's Christmas. Christmas is a big thing for Italians, especially Christmas Eve. Like we've got like a picture of him and a plate and his name thing at the table, like he's still there, and it's like it's nice, but it's still really fucking sad
It's
as well.
raw. It's
So
still really raw, isn't
yeah,
it?
and it still feels like so fresh, man. It's mad. Like it's like you just learn to just get on with your life, and I think that's why I try and be so busy, because if I have a second to actually sit there and actually deep what's happened, then I will fully break down. So it's like it's mad. It's probably my way of dealing with things. But
Do you think that some of those things that you've been implementing of the diary, the morning routine, all of those things, is that something that you've taken on more so in the last few years?
well, I literally just
Yeah.
the breathing was during lockdown, so he was still here for that. But just like I think, yeah, the diary was the end of this year because my mind was like so. I had a bit of a drinking drugs problem. I'll be honest, like, and I especially, and I think that was probably not due, but I think it was enhanced by my brother's passing. And I would, yeah, I used to drink a lot. Like, it was a stage where it was like 5 or 6 times a week, pretty much, and it was just. I know something had to change. My missus was on the brink of leaving me. I was in a mess, and I just come to a point. I think it was end of November, and I was like, I need to make a change. I'm not happy in myself. I'm not happy with my job. Like everything's just a blur. Like my relationships are just it's just not happening. I'm just selfish. That's how I felt. Selfish. I felt really selfish because I was putting drink and all that stuff above everything else. Like, and then when I had like a month, I had a month off everything, and I just felt so much more clarity, but also so much reflection on myself. Like I just thought, fuck, I need to get out of this whirlwind, man. Like especially with what I do as a job as well. I'm in a party every weekend. I need to be able to control that. And since that kind of month off, I've just it's just things have completely changed. That's when I picked up the diary. That's when I started being self-aware of myself a lot more, spending a lot more time with my family and friends, and just like I just find if you get stuck in that whirlwind, man, like life just goes like that. Like
Yeah.
I even had a drink on Saturday for the first time in a while with my missus because we've got a month off. Went to London, had a couple of cocktails.
Yeah.
And this whole week, man, has been a bit of a blur. I'll be honest with you. Like
Yeah.
today,
It has
yesterday,
more of an effect
yeah,
on you, doesn't it? When
massively,
you're like,
man. Like, oh
whoa.
my god, it makes you not want to do it again because I
Yeah.
was in such a role. I was like last week, I
Yeah.
was on
Yeah.
job. I was killing it, and then this week I've just been a lazy fuck, just like getting the PS4 out and just like I don't know, just thinking, oh, I just can't be asked to do. That's it. It can't be asked. That's the word I
Yeah.
hate. But
I
like,
hate that word.
that's the truth of it. It happens. So, and I think, right, I used to like 5 times a week. Like, how was I even still in the
How was I
industry? Like,
functioning?
exactly. So, and I think now I'm at the stage now where I want to make I want to make a real difference. Like I'm not saying I'm not proud of what I've done, but this is the real level up time for me, is to make a real big difference in the industry. A lot of good things happening in my life at the moment, like in my career. I need to grab hold of them, and I just keep saying to myself, like, if I'm doing that, I'm not performing at 100%. I'm not. I can't be performing at maximum capacity when I'm half cut, or when I'm not really there 5-6 times a week. Like I need to be fully on the ball. Life doesn't revolve around partying. I mean, I've been in it for nearly 20 years, 15, 20 years now. So for me, it's like now the real time of like escalating what I'm doing, like really upscaling it, and yeah, making a life, man.
I get a feeling as well that you are kind of entering into this like feeling that what you do makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
Whereas before, what you're doing is producing amazing music and people feel great off it, and it's like I said, that evolution where you're like, well, next is actually I can make a difference here. There is something really positive,
Yeah, 100%,
that can come out of this, and I think it's amazing that you're using your platform to do more around this work, because I as a woman, I'm part of so many conversations and go to so many events, and I meet so many like-minded women, and I think about my kids, and I'm like, there needs to be a world like that for everyone, right? That whole thing of, it's not we're trying to get better than guys. It's actually like we're trying to create something that's inclusive, right? So that everyone feels valued, feels like they're acknowledged, that there's a space for them to be,
that's
right?
exactly.
And I think that is part of the work that you're doing, because I think that is really, really needed in that space of young men, for sure.
100%, man. Like I say, it's a real close subject to my heart now, especially more than ever. So yeah, like for me to be able to use my platform to hopefully raise some awareness, and just like, yeah, just for me, that's a real big thing. So yeah, the way, especially, yeah, the way things are going now, like I just want to keep, they go hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? So I just want, the
Absolutely.
bigger I get, hopefully, the more people I can inspire in that sense, or raise awareness to. And I think they go hand in hand, man. I feel
Yeah.
like it's our duty, man, as not even just as art, but human beings, that, I mean, utilize what we've got around us, and actually spread some good love,
Yeah.
man. So for me, it's
I totally get that. I think there's a stage where, for me, it was like, I want to create this business, I want to do these things. And there was this kind of thing that I wanted. It wasn't really outside of myself, right? Then there comes a point where you start thinking outside of yourself, because there's so many more accolades that you can get, but there's something that, when you start feeling like you can make a difference, that can have a positive effect on someone else's life,
yeah.
that just lights you up in another way.
Yeah, it's true.
Right?
I think, like you said, when you get to that next stage, at first you're doing it for yourself, to prove to yourself, to whatever, to brothers around you. Then when you get to that stage where you're there, and you get a chance to actually take it in and go, "Wow, I've made that level now." Like you said, the next stage, it almost just happens. It doesn't. I don't know. Something happens or whatever, and you just kind of think, yeah, do you know what? I can. You know what I mean? I've got a duty now. I've got a platform.
It feels
I've
like a
got
duty.
followers. I've got people that actually look up to me. Like, and do you know what I mean? Let me be the right model to them, or to give them the right advice. So them kind of little things there, which can really change people's like year, whatever, man. So for me, like I say, them little things, they mean the world, and it just kind of, yeah, you just give him back, man. Do you know what I mean? Like you're at that point now where you can do that. So yeah, my inbox is always open for people to message me about anything, man. If they want to talk, I try and get back to as many people as I can. But any important, real messages, like they will get replies, and I think that's important, man, to keep that relationship with your fans. You can't talk about all this stuff, saying I do all this, and then not even be able to reply, or you just closed off in that sense, because it doesn't make sense. It needs to be authentic from the group, from the roots up, and that's truly how I feel about it. So
thank you. Well, look, I'm super inspired by I've been following your journey, especially the last few years, and I've got to say that I think the music that you make is awesome, but I think where you're going to next is even more exciting. I'm looking forward to see how that all unfolds.
thank you very much.
As a kind of closing tradition,
Yeah,
I'm saying tradition, I've done like 7 of these now.
nah, that's good. Manifest that.
Manifest that tradition. I kind of leave on the kind of a final question, which is like, I kind of think, for me, I think of the gift of hindsight, of experience, right? What would I say to my younger self? So
this is actually in a 6-minute diary, this question.
I'm just stealing everything from that. What would you say is, what was your gift of hindsight or experience that you would give your younger self?
I'd say definitely what's the word, like definitely give more love to yourself, like as in and appreciate what you've accomplished. Like don't like be so hard on yourself,
Yeah.
like we are. Like definitely stay away from the partying as much as you did, like, but at the same time it's so part of what I do. It's hard, it was hard not to. I made some great friends and experiences from it, but yeah man, just you're doing well,
Be
just
kinder,
keep,
yeah, be kinder on
yeah, exactly,
yourself.
be kinder on yourself, like,
100%.
and just yeah, man, just love more, like just literally love yourself more, and you're doing all right, man. So I think so many people like are so hard on themselves and expect, and like you say, before you know it, life's like you get to 30, like it's really mad how quick life goes, man. Like when you get past that 20 mark, like it's so
Just
true.
gets faster. You're like going,
It
no.
is literally so quick, man. So yeah, just take time, appreciate what you got around you, and just you're doing well, man. So yeah, that's what I would
love
tell
it.
myself.
Love it. Taking that on board.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. It's
been a
been
pleasure.
amazing. Thank you so much.
No worries, thank you very much. Appreciate it.